Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to take a stack of incredible research from the Institute of Water, specifically their guide, Improve Your Memory, 36 ways to boost your brain power and extract the most powerful, science-backed habits that can actually reshape your brain.
Thank you for having me. This is such an exciting area of
It
science
really is.
because we're moving away from that old idea that, memory decline is just inevitable.
Right, that it's just a part of getting older.
Exactly. The foundational insight here is neuroplasticity.
Okay.
It's the brain's ability to constantly grow new cells and form new neural connections really throughout your entire life. Our daily habits fundamentally influence whether that growth happens or, whether we start to atrophy.
That is the core takeaway right there. Memory is a skill, not some static state you're stuck with. So let's unpack these habits. There are 36 in the source material, but let's start with the biggest lever you can pull, the foundation.
Absolutely.
With how we fuel the machine.
It all starts with diet. And we aren't talking about counting calories here. We're talking about optimizing the actual structure of your brain.
So where do we start?
We often recommend the Mediterranean diet, but the most powerful prescription we've seen is the MIND diet.
The MIND diet, what does that stand for?
It's the Mediterranean-Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay.
I love that. It was engineered specifically to protect the brain. So what kind of results did the studies show? Because you hear diet advice everywhere, but the hard numbers, that's what really matter.
The data is what's powerful, and this should motivate everyone listening. In one major 8-year study, participants who rigorously followed the MIND diet,
So they were strict about it.
very strict, they reduced their risk for Alzheimer's disease by an astounding 53%.
Wait, a diet change alone cut the risk of a major neurodegenerative disease by more than half?
By more than half.
That's phenomenal.
And it gets even better. Even the participants who only made modest changes, maybe adding a serving of berries or some leafy greens a few times a week.
So, not perfect, but trying.
Right. They still reduce their risk by 35%. This tells us you don't need perfection to see radical benefits.
So, if the MIND diet is the gold standard, what are the universal rules here? Because sometimes you see other diets, like ketogenic, also showing promise for the brain.
That's a great question. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the common thread is really the avoidance of heavily processed junk.
Simple as that.
It really is. That means cutting out refined sugar and, crucially, industrial trans fats. Trans fats are just insidious because they cause inflammation, they compromise your cell membranes, and could even increase depression risk by up to 50%.
And we often see labels now that say 0 grams of trans fat, which makes you think the problem is solved. Can we trust that?
That's an important point. There's an FDA loophole. It allows manufacturers to label anything under 0.5 grams per serving as 0-gram trans fats.
So you could be eating it without even knowing.
You could. So what you should be looking for in the ingredients is partially hydrogenated fats. If you see that, it's a clear sign of trouble. The advice is to clear those out and also to eliminate foods and drinks with added sugar, which we know decreases activity in the hippocampus.
Okay, so clean fuel is essential. Moving on from what to avoid. You stress hydration. Is the impact of being just a little bit thirsty really that immediate on our short-term memory?
It is immediate and it's dramatic. Your brain is 73% water.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
It is. And just 2% dehydration impairs short-term memory and concentration. Mild dehydration actually causes measurable brain shrinkage.
Shrinkage?
Yes, and its effects can genuinely mimic the symptoms of dementia.
That's terrifying. So what's the goal?
A good rule of thumb is to drink half your body weight in pounds, in ounces of water per day. Using a dedicated water bottle or even a reminder app can make a huge difference.
Those 3 areas proven diets, eliminating trans fats and sugar, and hydration, seem absolutely foundational. And I know the guide also has specifics on memory superfoods, MSG, caffeine, and even alcohol.
That's right. They all fall into the same category of fueling the brain correctly.
So once you have the fuel, what's next?
Once you have the foundation, we look at the crucial building blocks. And for that, we turn to supplements. The single most important structural element for the cerebral cortex, the seat of memory, is DHA.
DHA, that's a key omega-3 fat, right?
It is. Think of DHA as the steel frame of your brain's architecture.
So if you don't have enough.
If you're low in DHA, it can result in a structurally smaller brain. It's that direct. We have studies showing fish oil improved working memory in young adults by 23%.
And how common is deficiency?
It's estimated that around 70% of the population is deficient. So ensuring you supplement with DHA, fish oil, or krill oil is critical for building a better brain.
Beyond that essential fat, the supplement market is, well, it's vast and confusing. How do we navigate the dozens of specialized memory enhancers out there?
The key is to focus on the foundation first.
Okay.
Make sure you have adequate vitamins and minerals. Things like magnesium, zinc, the B-complex vitamins. They're all necessary for basic memory function. Only after you have those core nutritional needs met should you even look into the specialized supplements.
And what should we look for then?
We list some proven enhancers like Bacopa, citicoline, and ginkgo, but the key advice is always to research those specialized compounds before you try them. Start with a good multivitamin.
And for a quick instant boost, you include a surprising tip. Something really accessible. Essential oils.
This is a fun one. It's an ancient practice, but it's backed by modern science.
What's the history there?
The ancient Greeks knew something was up. They wore rosemary wreaths. And now we know why. Sniffing undiluted rosemary oil can significantly improve memory, processing speed, and focus almost on the spot.
Really? Just from smelling it?
Yes. And peppermint is another one. It increases beta waves in the brain, which is the state associated with deep concentration. The simple action here is to just keep some rosemary oil nearby, or even chew peppermint gum when you need an immediate mental surge.
Okay, we've fueled the brain, we've given it the building blocks. Now we have to talk about training the machine itself. Your first brain workout is wonderfully simple. Turn off the GPS.
Yes,
Are we making our brains lazy by always relying on automated directions?
we absolutely are. Taking routine routes puts your brain on autopilot. It limits stimulation. When you take an unfamiliar route, you activate the cortex and the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for spatial memory.
And there's actual physical proof of this, right?
The proof is incredible. London cab drivers who have to memorize the knowledge, hundreds of routes and streets, they actually have significantly larger hippocampi as a direct result of that mental effort.
That's solid evidence. You can literally grow your memory center through sheer mental challenge, which I guess connects directly to this idea of neurobics. What are those?
Neurobics is a term coined by Dr. Lawrence Katz. It refers to any activity that is new, fun, challenging, and engages as many of your senses as possible.
So it's about breaking routines.
Exactly. Think of simple things, like doing tasks with your non-dominant hand, or shopping at a farmer's market to engage sight, smell, and touch. We want to constantly seek novelty.
And that's why other mental workouts, like learning a new language or starting a hobby, are so effective.
Precisely. They force you off that mental autopilot.
And when we talk about growth, we have to talk about physical exercise. You say in the guide that it's like miracle grow for the brain. What's the mechanism at work there?
The mechanism is a protein called BDNF,
BDN.
brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This protein stimulates new brain cells and new neural connections, especially in the hippocampus, which normally shrinks with age. Exercise, even just walking, raises your BDNF levels.
So how much walking do we need to start seeing a structural change in the brain?
It's less than you might think. Just 1 or 2 10-minute walks daily is enough to make a difference. We see that 2 hours of walking per week measurably increases hippocampus volume.
That's very doable.
And if you can exercise outdoors in nature, the effects are amplified. Memory and attention improve by about 20% after just 1 hour in a park or a natural setting.
So a walk in the park is a double win.
It's the maximum benefit, movement combined with nature.
Let's pivot to lifestyle habits. The brain needs fuel and training, but it also needs maintenance. And that seems to start with quality sleep.
Sleep is completely non-negotiable for memory.
Why is it so critical?
It's when your brain consolidates all the information you learned that day. It's like hitting the save button. It also washes out toxic debris that builds up.
So it's a cleaning cycle, too.
It is. And lack of sleep is so debilitating it impairs your mental performance as much as being legally drunk. The critical action here is to aim for 8 hours. And to address the common things that sabotage sleep, like stress and blue light exposure at night.
Another critical lifestyle point you make is a warning about medications. What should we be most aware of when it comes to memory loss?
This is a public service warning, really.
Yeah.
Certain prescription drugs like statins and some sleeping pills are notorious for this.
Okay, but what about over-the-counter stuff? Things people take all the time.
That's what often surprises people. Large studies have found that common over-the-counter medications, like certain antihistamines, pain relievers, even some acid reflux remedies, significantly increase dementia risk
Why is that?
because they block acetylcholine, which is the brain's key memory neurotransmitter. The advice is to check the lists of these drugs, which are widely available, and always discuss alternatives with your doctor.
We should also mention that the guide emphasizes social time, proper breathing, quitting smoking, and maintaining a healthy weight, all crucial elements for cognitive function.
Yes, it's all part of the same holistic system.
Okay, now for the final category. Skills you can actively learn to improve recall. You call them mnemonics, which the source material says force a depth of processing.
That's right. They're skills, not just tricks. They force your brain to engage more deeply with information.
Let's start with the most famous one, the mind palace, or the method of loci.
The mind palace. It relies on the fact that humans have exceptional spatial memory.
Remembering places.
Exactly. You take a location that's incredibly familiar to you, your house, your office, and you mentally place the items or concepts you need to remember throughout that space.
Like putting a carton of milk on your couch in your mind.
Precisely. Then, when you need to recall the information, you just take a mental walk through your house. The strange image of milk on the couch makes it stick.
That immediately forces you to use visualization, which makes the abstract concrete. What about some simpler tools we can use for, say, short lists?
For short lists, we can use acronyms or chunking.
Chunking, that's just breaking things down.
It's just breaking down large amounts of information into smaller, more memorable bits. It's why phone numbers are grouped in threes and fours. It's much easier to remember 555, then 123, then 4567, then a long string of 10 digits.
So you could use that for passwords or even a grocery list.
Yes. Group your grocery around into subcategories. 4 frozen items, 3 produce items, 3 dairy items. It's much easier for your short-term memory to handle.
And you save the most fundamental tip for last, which is about simply eliminating distractions.
It's the most powerful technique because, well, you cannot remember what was never processed in the first place.
If you weren't listening, it never went in.
Exactly. If your attention isn't there, the memory isn't formed. So the advice here is simple, but it can be hard to implement. Eliminate the major attention killers. That means clearing clutter from your workspace, which affects concentration, and absolutely eliminating multitasking.
Why is multitasking so bad?
Because it disrupts short-term memory by forcing your brain to constantly switch focus. You're not actually doing 2 things at once. You're just switching back and forth very quickly and losing information every time you switch.
That completes our deep dive into how to build a better brain. The 2 big takeaways seem undeniable. First, a healthy lifestyle is the absolute foundation for a fit, resilient brain.
That's number 1.
And second, memory is a skill. It's something you can learn and improve through training and technique. It's truly amazing to consider how dramatically small, science-backed habits, dietary exercise, can physically reshape the components of your brain, like the hippocampus. Thank you for sharing these 36 science-backed techniques. This conversation will help our listeners transform their memory and brain health.
My pleasure. Your brain can grow at any age as long as you give it what it needs.